Have you ever pondered the power humanity holds with nuclear weapons? A chilling thought, isn't it? For those unacquainted, allow me to introduce you to the concept of nuclear weaponry, devices of destruction, harnessing the very fabric of the universe, the atom, to unleash power beyond comprehension. The dawn of this nuclear age can be traced back to the throes of the Second World War. A time of unparalleled conflict and technological advancement, it was the perfect cauldron for such a potent brew to be concocted. Amidst the chaos, a clandestine project was birthed in the United States, a project that would forever alter the course of human history. This was the Manhattan Project. The Manhattan Project was a sprawling effort involving over 130,000 workers and costing nearly $2 billion. Its mission? To develop the first nuclear weapon. But this immense endeavor was not undertaken lightly. It was a response to fears that Nazi Germany was developing its own atomic weaponry, a prospect that could have swung the tide of the war in their favor. At the helm of this project were some of the greatest minds of the time, including Robert Oppenheimer, often dubbed the father of the atomic bomb. He led a team of brilliant scientists, among whom was the iconic Albert Einstein. Einstein's groundbreaking theory of relativity laid the groundwork for understanding the immense energy contained within the atom, a crucial component in the development of nuclear weapons. These geniuses, driven by a mix of fear, patriotism and scientific curiosity, labored in secret, racing against time and the enemy. They toiled to unlock the destructive potential of the atom, unwittingly setting the stage for a new era of warfare and geopolitics. Thus began the nuclear age, a time of immense scientific discovery and terrifying potential. An age where mankind held the power to annihilate itself in the blink of an eye. An age where the very fabric of the universe was harnessed for war. This was the dawn of a nuclear age, and its reverberations are still felt today. The first nuclear bomb, a creation of fear and awe, made its debut in the desert of New Mexico. In the year of 1945, under the codename Trinity, the world's first nuclear detonation occurred. The blast was equivalent to about 20,000 tons of TNT, a force so immense it would forever change the course of history. This was no ordinary explosion. The mushroom cloud that billowed up into the sky was a sight of terrifying beauty, a testament to mankind's newfound power to harness the very building blocks of the universe. Those who bore witness to the event were struck with a mixture of awe and dread. Robert Oppenheimer, one of the leading scientists on the project, famously quoted a line from the Bhagavad Gita saying, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." But the Trinity test was just the beginning. The true horror of this new weapon would soon be unleashed upon the world. A mere month after the test, the city of Hiroshima in Japan was leveled by a single nuclear bomb named Little Boy. 3 days later, another bomb, Fat Man, was dropped on Nagasaki. Over 200,000 lives were lost, the majority of them civilians. These bombings marked the end of World War II, but at a steep cost. Cities were reduced to rubble, their inhabitants suffering from burns, radiation sickness and psychological trauma. The images of devastation, of shadows etched into concrete by the intense heat, of survivors with horrific injuries, would shock the world and underscore the urgent need for nuclear disarmament. The dawn of the nuclear age had begun with a bang, quite literally. Humanity now held in its hands the power to destroy, a power that was both terrifying and awe-inspiring. The world had just gotten a glimpse of the destructive potential of nuclear weapons, a glimpse that would forever shape global politics and the course of human history. The world had witnessed the devastating power of nuclear weapons, and nothing would ever be the same. Post-World War II, the world was divided and the race for nuclear supremacy began. The stage was set for an era of tension, mistrust and fear, an era we now refer to as the Cold War. Two superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union, found themselves in a constant jostling for power, each eager to assert their dominance on the global stage. This struggle for supremacy was not fought on battlefields, but behind closed doors, in secret research facilities and government offices. It was a war of ideology, of economics, and most notably, a war of technology. And at the forefront of this technological battle was the race for nuclear arms. The United States, having already demonstrated its nuclear prowess with the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, was the frontrunner. However, the Soviet Union was not far behind. By 1949, they too had developed their own atomic bomb, leveling the playing field and escalating the stakes. This was no longer a game of who could build the bomb first, but rather who could build the most. And so, the nuclear arms race began in earnest. Stockpiles grew, with each side amassing an arsenal capable of not just winning a war, but obliterating life as we know it. In the midst of this race, the world held its breath during the Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962. The discovery of Soviet nuclear missiles in Cuba, just 90 miles from American soil, brought the world to the brink of nuclear war. For 13 days, the world watched and waited, fearing the worst. But one principle kept these superpowers from pushing the button: the policy of mutually assured destruction, or MAD. The idea was simple. If one side launched a nuclear attack, the other would retaliate, ensuring the total destruction of both. It was a grim deterrent, but an effective one. The fear of nuclear war hung over the world, a chilling reminder of the power humanity now wielded. In the wake of the Cold War, the world sought to control this destructive power. No longer could nations afford to play a high-stakes game of atomic chess. It was a time for disarmament, for peace, for a collective sigh of relief. The world began to see the necessity of curbing the spread of nuclear weapons. A global effort towards non-proliferation was ignited, fueled by a collective dread of nuclear war. The world had witnessed the devastating potential of atomic weaponry, and the consensus was clear: such power needed to be controlled. In 1968, the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, or NPT, was born. This international treaty aimed to prevent the spread of nuclear weapons and technology, promote cooperation in the peaceful uses of nuclear energy, and further the goal of achieving nuclear disarmament. The NPT was a beacon of hope, a pact for peace. It was a pledge to future generations that we would strive to avoid the mistakes of our past. But a treaty is only as strong as those who uphold it. Enter the International Atomic Energy Agency, established in 1957. This organization, known as the IAEA, was tasked with monitoring compliance with the NPT. The IAEA became the world's nuclear watchdog, its eyes and ears in the pursuit of a nuclear-free world. The IAEA has played a critical role in the modern age, facilitating the safe, secure, and peaceful use of nuclear technologies. It's been instrumental in promoting nuclear safety standards and helping nations develop nuclear energy for peaceful purposes. It's been a bulwark against the proliferation of nuclear weapons, a champion of a world where the atom is harnessed for good, not destruction. In the wake of the Cold War, the world sought to control this destructive power. And while we've made significant strides towards a nuclear-free world, the threat still looms. Nuclear disarmament is a journey, not a destination. It requires constant vigilance, unyielding commitment, and a shared vision of a world free of atomic weapons. We're on the right path, but the journey is far from over. While strides have been made towards a nuclear-free world, the threat still looms. So, where does this leave us now, and where are we headed? One may wonder. The presence of nuclear weapons in our world today is an undeniable reality. With 9 nations known to possess such formidable power, the nuclear landscape has become a complex jigsaw puzzle of politics and power. The nuclear arsenals of the United States and Russia still tower over the rest, a legacy of the Cold War. Meanwhile, countries like China, India and Pakistan have been slowly increasing their own stockpiles. North Korea's ongoing nuclear program has become a flashpoint of international tensions, while the nuclear capabilities of Israel, France and the United Kingdom round out the list of nuclear-armed nations. The potential for the use of these weapons in the future is a question that sends shivers down the spine of humanity. The horrific consequences of Hiroshima and Nagasaki are stark reminders of the devastation that nuclear weapons can bring. Yet, in this age of uncertainty, there is an ongoing debate about their necessity. Some argue that nuclear weapons have maintained a delicate balance of power, deterring major conflicts since World War II. They contend that these weapons, despite their destructive potential, have paradoxically kept the peace. On the other side of the debate, many advocate for complete nuclear disarmament. They argue that the risks of accidental detonation, nuclear terrorism, and the environmental consequences of nuclear testing far outweigh any perceived benefits. The Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons, which came into effect in January 2021, reflects this sentiment. It's a global call to eliminate these weapons of mass destruction. As we look towards the future, the nuclear question remains unresolved. The path we choose will shape the world for generations to come. It's a delicate balance, a high-stakes game of chess, where the wrong move could have catastrophic consequences. As we stand on the brink of the future, we must remember the lessons of the past and tread carefully in the nuclear age. The choices we make today will echo into the annals of history, and it's up to us to ensure that echo is not a nuclear blast.